Yeah. Boy. Still getting played, get your game up. Mission never changed, I'm the same one. Talking about a poodle, boy, I ain't one. I was outside when the rain come. Grew up on the corner, we was parked on the Ave. I ain't go to school, this is art, this a class. Riding in the stoley and my heart beating fast. We was dead wrong, still pray I don't crash. Had my first baby out of wedlock. Satan still aiming at your head top. Game done changed, but I'm still popping. Cooking all my beef, yeah, Red Robin. Thinking about the past, got my head throbbing. First girl broke my heart and she still bopping. Put it all on the track, this the real logic. I've been praying for the fam and some filled pockets. Ain't had much, mom still pay the rent. Y'all would sell it all for the clout, I'm convinced. I don't wanna talk if you still on the fence. I was hungry back then, so I don't reminisce. Yeah, you can't get it by wishing. The ops can't see me, so I keep the windows tinted. Offering it all, can't believe I was tempted. Thought it was forever, can't believe you was distant.
Yeah, my people hate evil. We slide, great reason. They join them, can't beat them. No revenge, we even. 18, it's a great team. Can't see them doing great things. Too dark than a light beam. I was 18, going 18.
Heard somebody talking, but I can't call it. Is you really trying if you ain't falling? They say you ain't nothing if you ain't ballin'. You got hella racks, but you still lonely. Listen to your music and it's drills on. Me, you online talking free to homie. Ain't nobody asking, but I'm speaking on it. Why you taking pictures when you feed the homeless? Big kicking with my senorita. Spin a ticket eating chicken out in Alameda. I was giving, I remember, I ain't have it either. Pay attention, it's confessions of a real believer. I ain't tripped, built with brick like I'm Rick James. When you lose everything, it's a different pain. When you gain it all back, you don't feel the same. I can never play the role and jump in different lanes. Watch out, man, tryna pull a fast one. LY, bust down real fast. All my sins, lay it down like a casket. Yeah, I'm safe from the hood, so I'm ratchet. Big guy gon' do big things. Play around when you knowin' all along, it's a fixed game. If I had a choice, never pick fame. Said I stop, it's hard to believe that, like the Big Bang.
Yeah, my people hate evil. We slide, great reason. They join them, can't beat them. No revenge, we even. 18, it's a great team. Can't see them doing great things. Too dark than a light beam. I was 18, going 18.
Get my own money, spin it like that. Double down, then I get it right back. Messages on messages, I never write back. D&D, 1, 2, 3, that's a nightcap. Get my own money, spin it like that. Double down, then I get it right back. Messages on messages, I never write back. D&D, 1, 2, 3, that's a nightcap.
Love me a girl that's bougie, body tight like sous vide. Her mind open and her skin glowing, then it's automatic like a Uzi. Pretty toes with the French tips, speaks French and she French kiss. Scenic views with the greenest grass, bringing bottles from my secret stash. She let her pay for herself, but she like when I pay for her more. A new ring or a necklace, if I can't decide, she get both. Cause she looking fly at the party, so we might leave early, I'm sorry. Cause she came with all of her homegirls, but she leaving me like Ferrari. That's fast, zoom zoom, gas, ayy, that's fast. Zoom zoom, gas, ayy, that's fast. Zoom zoom, gas. Cause she came with all of her homegirls, but she leaving me like Ferrari.
Get my own money, spin it like that. Double down, then I get it right back. Messages on messages, I never write back. D&D, 1, 2, 3, that's a nightcap. Get my own money, spin it like that. Double down, then I get it right back. Messages on messages, I never write back. D&D, 1, 2, 3, that's a nightcap. Yeah, get my own.
I ain't even gotta say much. Meditated when the bass done. They checking for me like a pay stub, but I ain't even gotta say much. I feel the world when it rotate. Life is but a dream in a flow state. It's me and all my bros in the whole vein. Writing out the blueprint with the propane. Always trying to gas up the whole game, but I can't fill a reservoir without a whole tank. How you trying to go to war when it's inside? Can't appreciate the light without dim times. So if you don't get up on your feet, you must feel pretty comfy and accepting your defeat. Now I'ma count to 3. You better buckle up, better grab hold of your seat. All you saying is a lot. Is the pressure what it is and eternal what it's not? Well, damn. So you saying you a flop?
So the album is called I Told You So. It was inspired by a trip I took last year. I went to Los Angeles and I cut a record with Westside Boogie. He's one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite rappers. He's from Compton. Basically, it's the story about the person or the creator or the artist or whoever is doing something in their life that is going after a dream and going after a goal. And in their journey, you know, there's going to be people around them that don't believe in their ideas and that will, you know, overlook their ideas, they'll discredit their ideas, they'll discount their ideas. They'll sometimes be even laughed at and made fun of for having an idea that they want to pursue.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm not the only person that experiences it. I feel like, you know, I Told You So is basically about sticking to your guns, sticking to the vision and pursuing it and seeing it through and being like, man, I told you so. I was gonna do this all along. You didn't believe in me, like.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Queen's Vantage Podcast. Listen, there is so much going on in the world and I just wanted another podcast of just wholesomeness and goodness. So I thought, what better way to do this than to sit down with my buddy, TEO. TEO, welcome to Queen's Vantage Podcast. What's good?
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. Just very grateful for life and to be able to, you know, sit down and share space with you. And very grateful.
Well, good. I'm so happy to have you here. This episode is really focused on fatherhood and just us being grateful for all of our fathers, not just the one that looks down and over us, but also our earthly fathers. So I wanted to spend some time just really giving dads a shout out. And TEO, you are a father. Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's talk a little bit about you and fatherhood and your son. Mm-hmm. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so my son, he's 14.
Okay.
He just promoted to ninth grade, actually. So he's starting high school. He's awesome. He's a skater.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I'm just, it's really cool to be able to, you know what I'm saying, share life and share wisdom with a kid.
Yeah.
And to be able to, you know, teach them about the world and to share what we've learned with them and just watch them grow.
Yeah.
And it's really just like a crazy experience. But it definitely, for me, it helps keep me young. It keeps me inspired. And it's just beautiful to be able to, you know, help a life grow.
Well, congratulations on the promotion. So he's going now into high school?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a scary time.
I know.
I mean, you remember high school. So what is this like for you as a father, seeing your son transition from middle school now into high school?
It's cool. I think, I don't think he's too excited about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm definitely just trying to, you know, reassure him that, like, you know, no matter what, it's going to be okay. And he'll have to, you know, find his way as he's currently doing, just, you know, with his friends and how he's kind of, you know, just moving through his life. So I'm just trying to guide him to be his most authentic self in any, you know, situation he finds himself in and as he's going and, like, you know, growing up and Yeah. So.
Well, it sounds like he has a very wise father. So TEO is an artist in Sacramento, and we're going to cover your music, and we're going to talk about everything you have going on. But what I want you guys to do is I want you to get a chance to know him as a person. So you're a father. You're in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And you're raising your son. Mm-hmm. And because we're doing this on fatherhood, what was it like for you growing up with your dad?
Yeah. So growing up I was born in the Bay Area in Daly City.
Okay.
And I didn't live there too long because we ended up moving to South San Francisco after that. And so I spent a little bit of time in the Bay Area as I was growing up, but mainly I grew up in Sacramento, Elk Grove.
Okay.
And so my dad, he was a stay-at-home dad.
Okay.
And my mom was working for the California School Boards Association at the time. So a lot of it, I remember having my dad around as a kid.
Yeah.
And back then, you know, because I was born in 1989. And so I think growing up in the 90s, stay-at-home dads was not I don't think it was a very big
It wasn't common,
thing. Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it's still not as common today.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk to you a little bit more because it sounds like your mother and your father found a rhythm in that.
For sure.
And that's something that we struggle with today, right? So men are not deemed as important or valuable when they stay at home with their children. But it's doable. It's possible. I myself have gone through that. When I was married to my husband, he was a stay-at-home dad for a while.
Cool.
I think I struggled with that as a woman, maybe because of the perceptions of society. But it sounds like it worked for your parents. And let's talk a little bit about how that affected your life, having your father.
Yeah. I think it was cool because growing up, it was like I never felt like I had a normal life, you know, versus like, let's say my friends, for example, a lot of the times the dads, you know, their dads were working, and every time I would go to their house, like, you know, when we'd have play dates and stuff, I would always see their moms. And so when it would come time to, like, you know, they'd come to my house and we would hang out, my dad would be there and they would be like, "Where's your mom?" type thing. And so it was cool to have that dynamic, to be like, it's different. But like you said, my parents, they were always like super awesome about communicating and understanding like the mission of the household, in terms of like, if my mom has the opportunity to, you know, have a job that's going to pay more, that can support the family, as opposed to the one that my dad might have had at the moment, then they doubled down on like, okay, then you are going to go out and, you know what I'm saying, get the money, and then I'll be here to take care of the kids as we find this dynamic that works for us. And then nothing else mattered in terms of like how society would view it. It was more just like, this is our family, this is the situation we have, these are the opportunities we have, and so we're going to double down and do it this way.
Yeah, I think that's important to, because we talk a lot about what normal is, and I always like to challenge that. Like, what is normal? Exactly. Because there's what's normal, and then there's what's best. And what's best can be considered what's normal, and that was normal for your family, and it worked. Yeah. And I think that's such an important story, because there's just so much that's talked about, and it's talked about so negatively. And yet you had your father in a home, a male figure, raising a young man. And that's why when I said, wow, it sounds like he's got a father who has wisdom. So obviously having your father home really bestows some wisdom, because when you talked about your son going out in the world and being his most authentic self, which is so hard for men. I mean, it's a real struggle because of societal norms, what men are considered to be. So that's phenomenal. So what's Dad's name?
Leonardo.
Is he going to kill us? Is he going to kill me for asking? No. Shout out Leonardo. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to my pops. I love you.
Yeah. So any plans for Father's Day?
Not so much. Usually we just, so we run a restaurant in Davis, and the restaurant's always open for like holidays and stuff. So we're always really, really busy over there. You haven't
invited me to the restaurant.
I know, you're going to have to come through. Like, for real.
Seriously.
Yeah. You're going to have
to eat.
Yeah. It's the best Italian food in the region. And I'm not saying just because like we're Italian and we run it. It's just really, really quality. We definitely, you know, take care of every ingredient, and also like the service, and just the patio is beautiful in the summertime. So you're going to have to come through.
I'm
for sure.
definitely coming through. You can take me up on that. Yeah. So what's good with you, TEO? What you got going on?
A lot right now. Yeah. Been working a lot. Like music wise, I'm getting ready to release an album next month, on the 17th of July. And, you know, we're planning a show, like a release party around the album. And so, it's just a lot of, I've been doing a lot of like behind the scenes work in terms of like a proper, like rollout to deliver it to the people with the most potential that I can bring it them to.
Yeah. So can you tell us about your music overall? So what drives the music, what inspires you, and what you're hoping that your listeners and your followers will get from your music?
Yeah, I mean, my music is I just want to inspire people to be, you know, the best versions of themselves, and to know that, you know, we could be inspired by anything in life. And my whole mantra and philosophy is unlimited inspiration. So essentially it's just, you know, an encouragement for people to embody what it is in their life that inspires them. It could be literally anything. And so by going after it, it will not only bring them success, but it'll also bring them happiness by staying true to, you know, to pursuing their passions. And so through my music and through, you know, like a clothing brand, I just hope to inspire people to find their inspiration, because I've been inspired by the world countless times, and by the people of this world. You, for example, too, you inspire me more than words. And so it's, you know, people like you and opportunities like, you know, we're such in an abundant state. And so I think it's important to, you know, respect the abundance that we have around us, and realize how important it is, so that we can, you know, apply it towards the things in our lives and use it to go to the spaces that we see ourselves being. And so that's what I hope to, bring to the people through my music. It's just inspiration.
So in real time, I came out to watch you and EG perform.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not hear the full conversation, but I know you were approached by someone and she was brought to tears because there was a song that you performed that she said really spoke to her heart.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to really I didn't want to be eavesdropping on your conversation, but can you just talk about that experience? Because what you're saying is you hope to inspire. But that experience where you were approached by someone who was like, listen, your song just told my entire story and what that was like for you. And you can even talk a bit about the song if you want.
Yeah. So, that was a really beautiful moment because those are the types of things I would hope to bring to people once they are able to truly connect with the messages, and honestly in the moment I was kind of shocked because I didn't know what to say, but I just gave her a hug and I was like, thank you, for feeling and receiving the message because you're who I make the music for. Yeah. Because, being able to find the place within myself to dig deep and find those stories and then to share them, you never know what the response is going to be. Yeah. And I think having that moment was just really special because, the song, it was pretty much about going through a relationship and almost selling myself short in terms of my worth and my value as a person. Yeah. And so for a while I kind of let the opinion of the other person dictate my opinion of myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I ended up getting through it. Maybe just by the grace of God and just through, an internal knowing of this is not where I'm supposed to be. And this is not who I should be, sharing my heart and my dreams and my goals with. And it just didn't feel right. And so eventually I was able to separate from it and have the outside perspective of seeing it from, the outside point and be okay, now I can write about this because this is what I was actually going through. Yeah. And in the moment, sometimes they say love is blind, and I feel in that moment I was blinded and I just couldn't see it, until you're outside of it.
Well, let's talk about that because June has so much going on. Mm-hmm. June is not only will we be celebrating Juneteenth, not only is it Father's Day, but it is also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Yeah. And what you were saying about being, whether it's in a relationship or friendship, and how you can value the opinions of others so much more than you value yourself. But there's a lot of work that has to be done. So I'm just curious to know, just because it's Men's Mental Health Awareness, and I know that men go through so much. I always say for women, I feel like we have a lot of outlets. I can call my aunt, I can call my cousin, therapist, and women talk, right? And I think it's so therapeutic for us. It's so cathartic for us to be able to talk. But what are some outlets for men, specifically to really not only be able to release pain and agony and the things that you're going through, but to be able to talk through and also have tools to be able to not only get through what you're going through, but to have them in the future. So what was some of the things that you or people or how did you get through that situation?
Yeah, so through that specific situation, thankfully, my family, since I've grown up as a kid, we've always had open conversations to where we can feel safe to express our feelings and share what's on our mind without being judged. Yeah. And so I think having that from growing up as a kid kind of built a foundation for me to where I don't feel scared to share what's on my mind or what's on my heart or what I'm feeling. And obviously, sometimes there are situations where I'll only share with the homies versus before bringing it to the family and vice versa. But the fact that, and I was just talking to my boy Lav here about having this foundation within our families or having it within the friends group where the important part is expressing it. However it translates, whether it's, talking to close people or your family or your friends, if you don't express it, then eventually it's going to fester up and it'll force its way out in a way that you may not necessarily want it to be, as opposed to if you would actually just express it to somebody. Yeah. And so I think by having those outlets and cultivating them at a young age, it allowed me to feel when I am going through something, I'm man, thankfully, like I have a space or I have somebody in mind, even if it's like a, you know, a specific person or a group of friends that like, I can share this with them and they won't judge me.
So I'm curious, was that something that was bestowed in you as a child? And I think you said, maybe you said that, or was that something that you learned as an adult?
I think I learned it, how to like hone it more as an adult. Like as a child, the kind of like the seed was planted, you know, but sometimes I feel like as children, we don't understand like the gravity of the things that we're being taught. And I can even see this like within my son as well. Like sometimes I'll be trying to teach him things and like he hears me, but I think he won't understand the concept until like, you know, a few years down the line. And so seeing that from my perspective, teaching him and then being like, oh yeah, this is what I was also taught as a kid, but I didn't actually realize it until I got older. So I think planting the seed is an important part, and then cultivating it as you grow up. Then later on, as you mature, then you're able to actually use the tools that you're given. And so I think that's kind of been the process for me through the years of like having the ideas, but not actually being able to cultivate them until later in my maturity. And that's been a big thing for me.
Another thing that I feel like is not talked about enough. So there's a huge movement around self-love and how women should love ourselves properly. I'm raising young men and I'm teaching them self-love. Like, this is what it looks like. So I show them through the way that I show up in the world, and then also like by what I teach them. And I realized, there was just this moment where I realized where I'm like, wait, young women are being taught this, but what about young men? And how important it is for all of us to just love ourselves first. What has that been like for you, like that self-love journey? Because it sounds like there's a lot of that in you. And you're also teaching it to your son. But what has that been like for you, just like loving yourself throughout this process?
I think it's been a beautiful, scary like experience. And I think a lot of it has actually came from having a son. Because I was 20 when he was born. And so I was like a baby, you know?
I was a young parent as well. I had my first child at 20.
Okay, cool. So we on the same, the same wavelength. And like,
you learn a lot through that process.
Like life it'll teach you like real quick. Like whatever you may think it is versus what it actually is. But it's scary and it's beautiful. And like, I think it pushed me to really dive deeper into the self-love, because the friend group that I was around when I was having my son was not like the most supportive. And so I was being like brought down in that whole time of it happening. And so I think it kind of scarred me for so many years of like, okay, well, if my homies can't even love me for trying to be a dad, then no one's going to love me. So then I kind of like pushed it down and like belittled myself and almost was like, well, maybe I'm not good enough to be a dad. But then it's like, that's not the truth, because it's within us. You know what I'm saying? It's not outside of us. The people outside of us can't penetrate the internal, purpose. And
you're getting ready to step into one of the most important roles of your life. I've actually never really shared this, but being a young parent, so I was pregnant at 19, had my son at 20. And it was something that I've actually avoided talking about, or I have avoided talking about, because it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I'm young, I'm becoming a mother, I'm just gonna push through, right? I'm gonna be every odd, I'm gonna be the best mother that I could be. But when I take myself back to that younger place, and I've had to do this now, of being like, seeing the beauty in who I was then, and realizing that I actually did not make a mistake. My son was destined to be here. He was destined to be a part of my life. And God knew that I needed him on this journey. But I was embarrassed. I've like never said that before. Like, I was so embarrassed to be a teen mom. And so it was like, it pushed me, like it put a drive in me, it put a fire under me that I cannot describe. So when my mother, found out I was pregnant, and she was okay, because my sister had been pregnant at 14, I think 14 or 15. And so my mother was like, you made it. Like, you're 20. You're an adult. You're out of my house. But for me, I was mortified, because I'm like, I should be going to college. I should be doing all these things. And so I ended up, just when my mother was like, hey, I think you should, go get on cash aid and go get government. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to go get a job. And I went from working at Macy's to corporate America. And I've been in corporate America for over 20 years now. But I remember how much it pushed me. And God knew that I needed that drive, because, I could have gone on whatever journey that I thought was for me. but I went on a journey that God had for me. And it shaped me into the woman that I am today. And you're absolutely right. When you're surrounded around people that don't understand that journey, like I'm getting ready to step into this role, which will be the most important role that I will ever have.
Yeah.
Like mother is the most important title that I will ever carry.
Yeah.
And, and taking that on, and now I have 3 beautiful, amazing children, but just realizing that, hey, this is what God had for me. And it's like, if God allowed this to happen, then I'm going to be the best. Like people can say whatever they want to say about me, but you can't say I'm a bad mom.
Yeah.
Yep. And it sounds like that was you, like just really becoming the best father that you could be. And sometimes you have to let go or just, or know where to place people in your life.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of it is, like you said, is like letting go and actually shedding things that aren't, helping your purpose. And also by allowing that to happen for yourself, then you can be that for other people.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the space to cultivate it within yourself, then there's no way you can share it,
Yeah.
And so it's so important to like step into our purposes and really just like do it without fear and no hesitation,
Yeah. So on the notion of fear, is there anything that keeps you up at night that you're like, oh my gosh, because you're an artist and you're putting your gift before the world, and that could come with a lot of joy and love, and then it can also come with some criticism.
Yeah,
but
sure.
what keeps you up at night, TEO? And yes, your fans are going to be like, what? Like, I didn't know this about TEO, so.
Yeah, they definitely going to find out a lot about me. They didn't know this.
That's always the goal on Queen's Vantage. I want to challenge people beyond what we just show the world. I want people to know who we are as people.
Yeah, and that's why I appreciate this so much, because like I'm terrified of being here. But it's like, I have to go through it, to continue to grow.
You don't have to be terrified. Mi casa, su casa.
For sure.
Yeah. Did I say that right?
You probably speak more Spanish than I do.
Y'all know what we mean.
But you get it.
You know the message.
But I never want people to be afraid. My producer and I, AJ, were just talking, and Queen's Vantage has been a first for a lot of people. So many folks that have sat in the same seat that you're sitting in, this is the first time that they've ever been on a podcast. And so I want people to be comfortable, tell your story, tell your truths.
For sure.
Because your story is going to help someone else. And that is the goal of Queen's Vantage. I want for people to be inspired and uplifted through the stories of others.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that inspires me, because I love to see people living in their truth. Like, it's the coolest thing to just see people moving and seeing how much, happiness and success it brings them by just doing what they love to do with no questions. Just, this is what I do. This is what I'm about. And we're here. And this is what I'm, giving you.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool to be able to have that and share it with other people,
Yeah. So what keeps you up at night?
Man, a lot of things. But I think in terms of like moving purposefully, keeping me up at night is that there's like so much to be done.
Yeah.
And I always feel like there's something that I can do in terms of like whether it's with family or artistically, creatively. And I just feel like there's this fire inside of me that's just never going to be extinguished. And so I always feel just driven when I wake up in the morning by, whatever is keeping me up at night. Like, I have this project to do, or I have this thing I got to do tomorrow, or I'm planning for something in the next month. And I just love being in that, the state of like driven and working like relentlessly.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel if I'm not doing something, then I'm purposeless. And I don't like idle time. I don't like sitting around. I love to be, hands in something or thinking of a new idea or like working on something. And so that's really what keeps me up and just like keeps me going, is like the knowing that there's so much to be created and it's endless,
So new album is getting ready to release.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about the album.
Yeah. So the album is called I Told You So. And essentially it's like, it was inspired by a trip I took last year. I went to Los Angeles and I cut a record with Westside Boogie. And so he's one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite rappers. He's from Compton. And in this time, so I Told You So, it's like, basically it's the story about the person or the creator or the artist or whoever is doing something in their life that is going after a dream and going after a goal. And in their journey, there's going to be people around them that don't believe in their ideas and that will, overlook their ideas, they'll discredit their ideas, they'll discount their ideas, and they'll sometimes be even laughed at and made fun of for having an idea that they want to pursue.
Yeah.
And so I'm not the only person that experiences it. I feel like, if you've done it or shared anything with somebody, somebody might have laughed at it. But I told you so is basically about sticking to your guns, sticking to the vision and pursuing it and seeing it through and being like, man, I told you so. I was going to do this all along. You didn't believe in me. Like, I told you so.
I like that spin because I, for whatever reason, I thought it was going in a different direction, but I love it. That moment when you're like, I don't have to tell you, I told you so. But you're like, look at what I've done. Look what I've accomplished.
Exactly. And it's like a statement.
That's dope.
And it's also like, as I got deeper into the creation of it, it became a conversation with myself.
Yeah.
Like I told you so, man. Like, you could do it. You did it and you're still doing it. And it's like outside of anything else, that's kind of what the idea is. And so after I cut a record with Westside Boogie, and he's like a legend from the West Coast. Yeah. I was like, nobody could tell me shit.
Yeah.
Nobody could tell me anything.
Yeah.
And so that's what I hope that people embody is the energy of, this project is like, whatever it is that you're pursuing in your life, like do it and be like,
Yeah, I'm inspired. I'm inspired. Just quickly. So AJ, when I came to you, I had gone through so much, right? I think we started off very professionally and then I was like in tears because I'm like, yo, when God gave me the vision for this podcast, like he didn't give me the manuscript. He gave me the vision. And I've gone through so many iterations of Queen's Vantage podcast. So we started in the living room before AJ. Okay. I started in the living room doing just audio. And then I moved into a studio and that didn't work out. And I was ready to give up. And I was ready to give up for a number of reasons. One, it was like, God, this isn't working out. Like I have this going on and that going on and nothing's working. And I'm by every minute, I feel like I'm losing a friend, because I'm pursuing this dream. And, with intuitively, like, who supports you and who doesn't, right? Yeah. So, when people show up. And I remember just kind of hearing like some kind of negative feedback about the podcast, about Queen's Vantage that I hadn't received directly. And it was hurtful. And I wanted to give up. I literally wanted to give up. Dang. And God kept pushing me. And through a mentor, I was able to connect with my producer, AJ. And I feel like we've been making magic happen ever since. And I really wanted to give up. So recently, until I was nominated for Podcast of the Year by the Hughes Society and Wine and Culture. And I'm actually, Queen's Vantage will be going to Washington, D.C. to hopefully bring this award home.
Let's go.
But it was my I told you so moment.
I love that.
It was my it was like, I stuck with it. Yeah. I kept going. I went through the trenches, and I mean, we still have some trenches to go through, but this has been my, I told you so.
I love that.
I made it. So that's what's up. And I can't wait for the album to come out. You have some performances coming up. So let's talk about them. Yeah. You've been doing it. You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy. Definitely. I've been, like I said, in the trenches. I've been locked in, just really focused. And with this album specifically, so we're doing an album release party to kind of go with it. So it's going to be called the I Told You Show.
I'm hoping there's some merch coming.
Yeah, and merch. Yep, yeah. I'm gonna have merch there. There's a whole clothing line specifically for the album. So it's the I Told You So collection. I got one of the shirts on right now. Oh. So it's like,
That's what's up. I hope you let me know where I can get a shirt.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you one for sure. I got you. So yeah, pretty much. The whole vision is to share this idea in its fullest potential with people through the I Told You Show. Yeah. So it'll be July 21st. It's a Sunday, and we're playing at Secondhand Hustle. It's in Sacramento. Yep. That's where I met you, I believe, too.
That's where we met.
EG's show. Yep. Yeah. So we're running it back over there. All right. It's gonna be really cool. We're gonna have a whole stage up there set up, and we're gonna have a bunch of lights, and we're gonna have like a LED board on the stage. So my idea with the show is to make it feel like a festival. So it'll be a summertime, and we're just going to be having a really dope lineup of artists. We have people from the Bay Area coming through. EG the Beast is performing.
Shout out EG.
Shout out to EG the Beast, my brother. Much love to my brother EG. Yeah. So he'll be performing. Lady Oflo. She's an artist from San Francisco. She's like one of my favorite artists in the world. She's like a singer, songwriter, producer. She's like a director. She does everything. My boy South 006 is also going to be performing, and he's going to be DJing the show.
Okay.
So, and he's the one who's also executive producing the I Told You So album.
Okay.
So you'll see his production all over the project.
Yeah.
My brother Testagrossa, he's also going to be performing. He'll be doing a beat set.
Okay.
And then myself and special guests. So we got a whole really, really fun show planned.
Well, I'm excited. Where can people find out about the show? Instagram, Facebook? Where can we find out about it?
Yeah, so right now the show is up on Eventbrite. So if you just search up the I Told You Show, the Instagram for the show is I Told You Show 916. So I'll be posting, all the updates for that as well. And even on my Instagram, I'll kind of link it all together.
Yeah.
So you can, have updates every week. I'm going to be dropping like 3 videos every single week until the show is here from now until then. So we'll be in their faces. It'll be very prominent.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I'm excited. I'm excited to, first of all, let me go back. I'm blessed to have met you. Yeah. You've got this like real calming and welcoming spirit, like since day one.
Yeah.
And let me just talk about perseverance. So I'm always trying to figure out, okay, who's next? Who am I bringing on the podcast? And you reached out to me. We had a conversation and you rolled with me through the ups and downs. I'm like, yo, we can't do it then. We got to move it and talk about perseverance because you really pushed through. And some people would have been like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm not going to do it. But you stuck with me. So I'm super happy to have you here. But I'm also excited about the journey that's ahead of you.
For sure.
And you got a spirit like that is just... It's so calming. It's so just, and I feel like I know that whatever is to come for you is going to be so great. And on Queen's Vantage, we want to wish you the best of luck with your show and your album.
Thank you.
We want to continue following you, TEO. You're just an amazing human being, and that's what I want represented on my show. So I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, we get to connect. It's because also that you're a beautiful and amazing person that we share, the same idea, and we kind of understand each other. So it's cool to, see that in you as well. And for you to welcome me on here, I feel very, very blessed and very grateful. I think I've been in that space, recently, more than ever, of just being so grateful to like wake up in the morning. Like I got breath in my lungs today. You know what I'm saying? I got a roof over my head. I have the means to like provide for anything that I or my family might need. I don't have to worry about money. Like I'm not so worried about like my bills for once in my life. And it's just like the simple things have been resonating more than ever over the last few months. And so I don't take any moment for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like right now in this very moment, I'm so grateful for this moment. Everything that's happening, it's gonna pass by, but in the moment right now, like I'm beyond grateful. And so it's just like things like that have just been really keeping me inspired through the through the days. And I don't know what has been inspiring you lately, but
thank you. So I'm a pretty busy person. I commute over 100 to 200 miles a day to get my child to school. I work a full-time job, and then I have my podcast. And God has slowed me down. And by that is I blew the engine in my car.
Okay.
So I got a chance to lift over here today, right? I took a lift. And I think what's been inspiring me and keeping me going is that I'm starting to focus on what's more important. And that's the plants and the trees and all of God's blessings, like the earth, everything around me, and becoming one with it for the first time in a long time. Wow. I can't tell you the last time I didn't have a vehicle. And it's just reminded me of just being present. Wow. Like really just being present with my children, with myself, with my friends for the first time in a long time, where it's like, I'm not on the go. I'm not talking to you in a car. Or if I am talking to you in a car, it's undistracted because I'm not driving. Someone's actually driving me now. Wow. And it's been a blessing. And I even said when this first happened, it happened on Mother's Day. And it's taken some time to get my engine rebuilt, but it happened on Mother's Day and I didn't freak out. And I'm normally like the stressor because like, how am I getting my kids to school? How am I getting to work? But God aligned my life so well where it was like the school was able to put my son on independent study until we could get him over into Marin County. I work from home. Yeah. And I didn't freak out. I was just like, well, God, if you allow this to happen, then, it's happening for a reason. And I've just taken a step back and just like finding myself like not worrying about much.
Love that.
And it's been so powerful, like to the point where I don't even really want to step back into driving again.
Wow.
Like if I could live this life and not drive, I would actually be okay, because I didn't realize how much I was on the go. Dang. And so just being present now and being thankful for everything. Like, God, you allowed this to happen. I'm thankful for it.
Wow.
God, if you allow this to happen, I'm thankful for it. And so I've just been in this place of just being present.
Yeah.
Speaking of present,
I got you a gift.
oh, that's what I heard.
Yeah. So this is a bottle. So like I was telling you earlier, before we got on, this is from Piemonte. It's where my dad grew up in Italy.
Can I open it?
Yeah.
Can I open it on the show, AJ? Oh my gosh, and it's a beautiful bottle. Okay, so how do it's Carlo Ravello.
Carlo Ravello and Figli.
Figli.
It's like kids in Italian and kids.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I really
so it's
appreciate
a Barbera
this.
grape. Yeah.
I really appreciate this. Thank you so much. TEO, this is just the beginning of the friendship, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your album. I told you
so.
So I'm really thankful that you just spent the time with me today. I can't wait to see where this journey goes. I can't wait to get the music and listen to the music. I know my aunt, you shared it with her and she was checking you out.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the family does. We want to continue supporting you. Thank you for coming on Queen's Vantage podcast. Yo, listen, y'all, this is a king right here and he's wearing a crown and we have so much that we can learn from Mr. TEO. I Told You So will be out on
July 17th.
July 17th. Please make sure that you download. It'll be on every platform.
Yep.
Go follow TEO on Instagram. I'll let you give them your handle.
Yeah, you can find me at Mugenspire. So it's MUGENSPIRE. And that's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything. We're on there. So.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we tag TEO. TEO, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Listen, our crowns are up high. We are present. We are inspired and we are thankful. This podcast is dedicated to all the fathers. So happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Hey y'all, so don't forget to follow Queen's Vantage Podcast. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And listen, click on one of the videos, check out some of our previous episodes. We love y'all. The crown may tilt, but it'll never fall off.